It's story time chill with Val and Sil. It's story time and chill with Val and Sil.
Hello.
Hey, happy Wednesday,
Happy
everybody.
Wednesday. Yes,
Oh,
we
did
are
we
here.
like officially name this Storytime Chill Day? No longer Wednesday, right? It's
No longer
Storytime Chill Day.
Wednesdays.
Okay,
Storytime
it's Storytime
Tuesday.
Chill Day.
That's right.
I'm so
Monday,
happy to
Tuesday,
see
Storytime Tuesday.
you,
Yes.
sis. I'm so happy to see your
Yes, happy to
face.
see you as well.
Yes, you guys. It's been a great week so far. We definitely want to salute and pay honor. Memorial Day was this past Monday, so anyone that has serviced our country, our nation, then we definitely want to salute you. Hopefully you were able to spend time with your families and definitely enjoy the holiday, the 3-day weekend for most of us that had that. And of course, let's get right into it. I am one half of the dynamic duo. I am Cecilia Seal Smith.
And I'm your other half, Valerie Johnson Reed.
Okay, and special announcement, especially if you've been like super asleep on Storytime Chill and you've been under a rock somewhere, Val, let them know what we have going on.
Man. Well, Mother's Day was a monumental day for us because we dropped past the hot sauce. We decided to go ahead and take pre-orders starting Mother's Day, and guess what? We will still continue to take pre-order sales for past the hot sauce until June 9th. Pass the hot sauce, man. It's a little bit. It's spicy, but it's stuff that your kids, your adults, your teenagers need to know. Some stuff for adults too. So I think it'd be great for us all to participate in Storytime Chill with Pass the Hot Sauce, and just know that there's a lot of good information coming from it.
Yeah, and it's only volume one, you guys. It's about to be a whole movie. Make sure that you support. We'll be having some more information on Pass the Hot Sauce pretty soon. And as always, we want you guys to stay connected with us. We do have summer is approaching, and Val and I will be all over the place in very good
Mm-hmm.
ways. So make sure you stay connected with us on Facebook, where you're probably watching this live stream now. If you are on my personal page, do me a favor and make sure that you like Storytime Chill with Val and Seal. We want to start directing the traffic over to our main page. On
Yes.
Instagram, we're Storytime Chill, and on YouTube, we're Storytime Chill as well. So make sure you subscribe and listen to us on the go. You can find Past the Hot Sauce and all past episodes on www.storytimechill.com. So just make sure that you support your girls, okay? But
Yeah.
tonight, we have a brother Arthur with us. All right, Mr. Maurice is in the virtual building. Can I
Yes,
say
he's in
that?
the virtual building. He is
Yeah,
in this
he's in the
virtual
virtual building.
building. Yes,
Yes,
he
and he
is.
has a whole brand of literary collection, the Snotty Nose Kids. And when I first saw this book floating around, I was like, wait a minute. Like the title alone caught
Right.
my interest. And I was like, oh my God, like I want to hear more. So let's go ahead and bring our new brother author up, Mr. Maurice Todd. Let's see what he's doing, how he's hanging. Hey, Maurice.
Hey,
Hello.
how you ladies doing?
We're
Great. How are
great.
you?
You gave me a little bit of time to like calm down. Listen,
Yeah.
We're so happy that you're here and that you could join us. We know that you're on a different time zone, so we do appreciate you staying up a little later and hanging out with Val and I.
it's not a problem.
We don't take your time for granted. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So, Maurice, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from out of New York. Um, I'm kind of new to the literary world, especially with children's books. Um, I'm trying to start a not-for-profit movement geared towards children who have been bullied, as well as the bully, and try to rectify a lot of these things that's going on in society amongst children. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the platform for my books. I used to be in the music industry as well. So what I utilized was that talent of rapping to put together a children's book that the format is based upon nursery rhyme, because I understand that with the children of today, you have to be able to hold their attention. So
Absolutely, and I mean Val and I, we get down, Maurice. Don't let
do you?
the
Don't sleep
we
on
love
it.
the
Don't
music.
sleep on it.
Oh,
Don't
is
let the
that
teacher
right?
don't let the teacher face fool you.
Okay. Well, then that's good. Great. Plenty of room.
Yeah, yeah. So next time
Plenty of
we're in
room.
New York, sis, we have to make sure we stop by so we
That's
can
right.
hang.
That's
Sure.
right. We
We'll make
sure will.
accommodations for you. No
We
doubt.
Yes,
sure will. We sure
thank
will.
you.
Well, on that note, without further delay, Maurice Todd, go ahead, take it away.
Thank you. This is the first book in the series, The Snotty Nosed Kids. And like I said before, it's a nursery rhyme from beginning to end. So I will try to do from off the top of my head for the most part because I'm pretty much, acclimated with the story. So it begins with me paying homage to my children, Atia, Layla, Nasaba, and Hamza. Now, this story begins like no other in a place that we would like to call any hood. But it's so hard to tell a tale in these days and times when you must first start with kids that are good. Yet, there are three which we really should speak about, all of African American descent. Well behaved if you ask my opinion, but you'll have those who say that they should have been content. But this life is so more demanding than eating cookies and candy, picking up balls and jacks. Not when there's the sadness for the loss of your parents having just passed away, knowing they ain't coming back. Their car having been struck by another car, a drunk driver had fell asleep at the wheel. And in a split second, they had lost both loved ones, so it's really no small wonder that they should feel like the sky had fallen down upon them or like a huge hole had been dug through their hearts. And for kids to have to deal with this stuff, it's got to feel like their world had been torn all apart. Now, the oldest one, a girl named Carly, was truly blessed, her ebony skin all aglow. Two long pigtails braided down her back made her beautiful from her head to her toe. And at 13, she guarded over her brothers, somewhat like a hawk. One would say it had always been that way ever since the day the three of them could walk. O, which was short for Owen, fancied himself man around the house. But he spent most of his spare time picking fights, knowing full well that he couldn't whoop a mouse. He too was brown skin complexion, honestly speaking, a handsome little lad. And with all that thick curly hair of his, he was the spitting image of his dad. Let's not forget Benjamin, his little brother, and also the youngest one out of the three. And with the brain size twice your average, he was a genius which everyone could see. A sharp pup, if ever there was one. He wrote the book on witty words to say. And he might have solved half the world's problems if he weren't playing video games all day. So they weren't the worst of kids, really, though it may be said they were close knit. They didn't steal, nor did they play hooky, spray graffiti, or throw fits. They weren't finicky eaters either. What they were served, they ate most of it. And they never complained when they didn't receive what they felt they were supposed to get. Now, you're sitting there scratching your heads. I know it's understandable, for most forget that it was their Nana, Madame Estelle Walker, who first called these three the snotty nosed kids. And though I'm certain it was she who said it, it wasn't originally her plan, but it was a name which fit quite nicely, therefore it stuck like grease to pan. And so this Madame Estelle Walker, she was the glue which held this clan. So proud of the fact that her roots trace back to the shores of the motherland. Her family tree branched out from Africa, which she protected without fail. And she came from a line of storytellers who were known to produce tall tales. Her wisdom was the stuff of legends, but her heart was as pure as the snow. And over time, you may learn that her only concern was for Carly, Benjamin, and O. Sad to say, there's a side to this story with an entirely different set of rules. For when they went to school, they left the safety of home, and we all know how the world can be cruel. I always caution when speaking about little ones, for there are a few which the eyes have seen, who start out the nastiest of buggers, but then who grow up to be just as mean. Think about it. It's so sad, really. The love and kindness some of us lose. Every heart has a spark. If it ever grows dark, plays a part in the path that we choose. Good news for the Walker children that such behavior wasn't one of their traits. But few would have knew of the names of the two other kids who were also classmates. Layla was Carly's pal around, a Muslim girl with the cutest round face, though she covered her head praying 5 times a day and was born in a faraway place. Her nature was to be quite humble, although she was outspoken as well. She knew about the birds and the bees, the flowers and trees, and why the rain and temperatures fell. It's not cool while the kids used to tease her, making fun of her whenever they could. Her and Carly turned out to be two of a kind, which is why they got along so good. Now, Felix chose O as his best friend, the only Mexican boy Owen knew. Though it wasn't that hard for two peas in a pod to be stuck to one another like glue. For Felix rarely talked, if ever. He was alone, so his friends were few. And he chose not to speak through the words out his mouth, but by way of the pictures he drew. Quiet as kept, little Felix was hungry, and so that's why he had few words to say. Having come from a very poor family, he dreamt about food a good part of the day. But O, who was such a good friend, simply told Felix, "Don't stress it, it's cool. Because I always have room in my lunch pail to bring an extra sandwich to school." And that's how their friendship blossomed. How else would two complete opposites meet? O would sit in the back of the class and watch little Felix Guzman while he eat. And Felix would draw Owen pictures, which he would take home and hang in his house. And it never mattered that the pictures he hung were of a place he knew nothing about. For his grandma had so often told him that a true friend is a friend to the end. Like a wise man, he'd taken her words to heart after having heard them over and over again. Meanwhile, Benji had an easy go of it, mainly due to his mile high IQ. He treated math and science like recess, which is why his teachers didn't know what to do. Some thought he should go skip school altogether and go straight to any college he named. Dean Boogaboo suggested Harvard Medical so that in that way they could study his brain. But Benji wouldn't have any of that though, for he knew he was smarter than most. So he was more likely to play video games than to toot his own horn or to boast. But that's how the snotty nosed kids were, two sides of a coin, heads or tails. For their hearts were as soft as puppy dog fur, but their skins were as hard as nails. Anyway, there's going to always be skeptics, the hater type, those who would say that this doesn't go on in the children's book, but it does in Any Hood USA. And if life weren't already confusing, sometimes destiny brings the unplanned. When we're thrown for a loop, we still try to regroup when it seems we've been dealt a cruel hand. That's how Grandma felt, I'm quite certain. Sometimes decisions are so hard to face. It hurt her heart when Miss Huffin' Puffin stuff placed that call from the foster care place. It pains for me to tell you this story, for honestly, I don't know what it means. For these three little kids have suffered the loss of their parents to COVID 19. Miss Huffin' Puffin stuff was a sweetheart, and she was known to confide in her friend. For there will always come a time when you'll need the support of someone who will ride to the end. And Grandma had a soft spot for children. She couldn't bear to hear little ones grieve. So as details swirled about this boy and two girls, there came a tale she just couldn't believe. How could anyone not do for children? That's just something I can't understand. But tell me more of the facts. Speak plain and exact, because I'm prepared to do whatever I can. Well, the boy, his two sisters, both lovely, and to see is to certainly agree. But if I can't find a family for all of them, then they'll wind up separating all three. Oh my, we can't allow that to happen. But what type of world would allow such a fate? All kids need a chance at a normal life, to grow up learning love and not hate. Well, Estelle, those are my thoughts exactly. Besides, I refuse to break a promise I make. Why it's so hard to find a home for children? Something like this should be easy as cake. Madge, how many times have you walked this path and each time you had reason to rejoice? Or is there something else you're not telling me? I can tell by the tone in your voice. There was quiet for almost a minute. You could hear the soft willow whisper of a breeze, the pitter patter of caterpillars trudging, autumn leaves dropping off the trees. Blue-tailed sparrows made landings on a windowsill forever came before either one spoke. There was the sound of a car engine starting. Or was that a frog in Miss Huffin' Puffin Stuff's throat? Well, there's something else to be added, but first, let me ask, have you sat in your chair? Oh, Madge, would you just go on with it? I'm worn out by this endless affair. All right, Estelle, these sweet darling children were dropped in my caseload 1 week from this night. Now, where do I find a black family to take in three foster care kids who are white? For the second time that day, there was silence. You could hear the clang of a needle when it dropped, or the sound of a cat licking its whiskers, the soft tick tock of a clock. This timelessness went on for some seconds while Miss Huff and Puff and stuff let out a sigh. Then came that familiar sound of a car revving before Grandma Walker came with a reply. My, this is quite a predicament. Having faced a case like this, I can't lie. But you can't give up on kids regardless. I guess it's I who must give it a try. Miss Huff and Puff and stuff broke down crying. Sniffles could be heard on the other end of the line. But they were tears of joy, for two girls and a boy had found a home with a woman so kind. And that's the end of book one.
Yay. Wait, I almost feel like I should be doing like snaps
I know.
instead of
Yes. Yes.
that was so smooth. You hear that?
That
That
was
was so
wonderful.
smooth,
It was
Maurice.
beautiful. It
So
was
powerful.
very much
Oh
so.
my gosh.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
So we
Thank you.
have some questions for you this evening. So,
Sure.
what made you write this book? What made you write the Snotty Nose Kids?
Honestly, this is really going to make your Nielsen ratings go up.
Okay.
Okay. I was incarcerated in prison for 16 years.
Okay.
Mm,
Wow.
Yeah. And I wrote many
yeah.
books,
Okay.
novels, and this, however, is my jewel because this is based upon my experience.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
the platform is to educate children how not to make the mistake that I made.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
see?
powerful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's wonderful.
And that transparency is what's
Yeah.
needed. That
That's right.
transparency is definitely what's missing a lot of times. So we appreciate
We
just
sure do.
letting us in and our viewers in into the true inspiration behind your literary gift that you have discovered.
Right.
And I
That's
thank you.
amazing.
I thank you for giving me the platform
Of course.
to
That's
speak.
what we're here
It's
for.
all divine, it all works out how it's
It all
supposed to
works
work
out.
out. So we
That's right.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for
That's
that.
Thank you.
wonderful. Wonderful. The foster care system. Talk a little about that because we don't hear anything about that. Usually that's like tucked away or it's hushed away. Talk to us about that. What made you include that as far as part of the story of the children that you spoke about in the book?
Hmm.
I think because being African American, that we get the title of foster care, but many of our families are are dysfunctional and broken up.
Hmm.
So a lot of times there are children who are not raised by their mothers and their fathers. They're raised by their aunts and their grandmothers. So that was pretty much the premise for this book. As you go along, you will come to find out that after their mother and father passes away, that they're raised by their grandmother,
Hmm.
and their grandmother is the influence in their life to show them and to teach them, you know, and to be a buffer, so to speak, between them and the world. As we all
Right.
know, our black women have played such a great and instrumental part in raising these children, you know, through difficult times. So,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
That's I like that. So I heard you say, I heard in the story, you spoke about the different children. You spoke about a child with a high IQ. And to me, that's gifted and talented. You spoke about a child that was hungry. You spoke about a child that was teased. You talked about a child that looked different or had that was suffering from grief and loss, of course. And then you talked about the child that was a Muslim child. what made you pull out those characteristics in those children? What made you put those children in this book?
Um, that's an excellent question, and I think that anyone who writes books that they are actually hiding behind their dialogue, not the
Mhm.
narrative, but
Mhm.
the dialogue. And it's a trick that I was taught along the way by people who actually went to school. I never went to school for writing.
Mhm.
I have gone to college though. I went to
Mhm.
HBCU along the
Okay.
way.
All
Yes.
right.
Yeah, Virginia State University, go Trojans.
That's right.
Come
That's
on.
right. That's
So
right.
from out of that, all those different characters are splintered off from different facets of who I am as an author or
Mhm.
Mhm.
people that I have come across. And the beauty of writing is as you go along, you get to pour your soul into your writing if you know how to do it correctly. Because
Mhm.
I mentioned earlier that you have the narrative. I hear so many people say, well, we got to change the narrative, and it's become cliche. The narrative in
Mhm.
writing is something that you cannot, if you want to be successful, you cannot put your opinion in the narrative because then
Mhm.
the people will nail you. They'll nail you to the cross. But the trick is to place your personality or to place your ideas into the dialogue. And then that way people can either like or dislike the characters. They
Mhm.
forget all about you. It's about the characters. And you have the antagonist and then
Mhm.
you have the protagonist.
Protagonist. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
in these stories, you want to root for the protagonist. You want to root for the children. So that's what you have to finesse. You have to say whatever it is that I want to put out there. I have to put it out there in the dialogue, but never
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
the narrative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's hey, there was some listen, aspiring authors.
I was gonna say, yeah.
There was a few gems in there. You
I
do
hope
not
you're
have to
listening.
go to school for writing or journalism in order to be a writer. You don't have to
Uh-uh.
go to
No, you
school
don't.
for photography to be a photographer, to be a creator, to be a videographer. You
Uh-huh.
can learn through your natural gifts and experience. That was one gem. If you missed
I
it,
was gonna
okay, let
say,
me run
yeah.
it back. And then number two, you placed your message through the characters,
To the children. Yes.
through the dialogue. Okay, so now
Uh-huh.
they're not saying, "Oh, Maurice think da da da." No, it's this character thinks, this
Yes.
character did, this character
Exactly.
feels.
Right.
Okay, come
Exactly.
on,
Right.
aspiring authors, free gems. Oh, you
Exactly.
see that?
That's free.
Listen,
That's free. That's right. And here on Storytime Chill with Valen said we talk about these kind of
yeah.
topics. And we also try to encourage people who aspire to be writers. I firmly believe that writing is a gift.
Hmm.
I do not believe that it's a gift that everyone has. What encouragement would you give someone that has the gift but they just don't know where to get started?
Mm.
That's an excellent question. Um, but I believe, and this is not through one of my characters. This is me, Maurice Todd. I believe that everyone who's been placed on this earth by the Creator, I believe in God. I believe firmly in
Mm-hmm.
God,
Yeah.
else I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be here today. Um, I believe that everyone who has been placed on this earth has been placed here with the necessary resources and gifts in order to survive.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a single individual on this light on this earth who does not have a gift
Hmm.
and has not been blessed with a vehicle
Yeah.
for him or her to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go to school.
Right.
School is, I mean, I'm not going to knock school because school has some benefit, but don't ever believe that because you haven't gone to a school that you can't excel. Who
Yeah.
taught Miles Davis how to play the trumpet? Who taught John Coltrane how to
Mm-hmm.
play the sax? Miles
Mm-hmm.
Davis, when they discovered Miles Davis, they attempted to send him to Juilliard School for music, and he was there for one day before he left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my words to the children as you grow up, you have to find something within yourself
Yeah.
that you love doing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you love doing that thing, commit yourself to doing it. And don't let anyone, no one dissuade you. Don't
Mm-hmm.
let anyone discourage
Yeah.
you. Unfortunately for me, the path that I took was a rough one, but along the way, I came to understand something that it's okay to be by yourself
Hmm. Yeah.
because you need to be by yourself to discover who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'll never discover who you are when you're amongst a group of people because what'll happen is you'll start to absorb and become part of the group and you'll
Mm.
never discover your voice.
Right. That's
Okay.
huge.
Y'all about to.
That's
Okay, listen.
that's good. That's really good, and that's huge. And we talk about this all the time. Time alone is necessary to be able to process and to think and to reflect. What
Hmm.
is my purpose here? What am I supposed to be doing? So I'm so
Yeah.
glad you said that. I'm so
Yeah,
glad you said that. That's
thank you.
that's that's really good.
Yeah.
So, along with being an author, what have you found to be one of the more rewarding things that you've been able to accomplish with your story?
Hmm. Oh.
I think one of the most rewarding things been able to accomplish is I've been able to discover who I am
Hmm.
and to discover what my purpose is. And I've told several people that I've never felt the joy that I feel when I see a child, reading my books or a child wearing, one of my shirts or one of my hats or
Yeah.
my book bags because there's something about it. It's something special on both ends.
Right.
It's almost like the child is feeling special and I'm getting satisfaction
Yeah.
out of being able to bring that about. You know,
Mhm.
to be very honest with you, I have children, and um, it always bothered me that I wasn't there to raise them. That
Yeah.
always bothered me, and there's no way to be able to repair that what happened in the past. But as you move forward, you can
Mhm.
always look towards the future and trying to make the future count. So this has been a reclamation project for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As you see in the beginning of the book, I list my children there
Mhm.
because sometimes as a man, as a African American man, we deal with things different than other types of men do,
Hmm. Yeah.
and sometimes we can't articulate to those who are around us what we're trying to accomplish, even though what we're trying to accomplish is we have in mind our loved ones. And
Hmm.
sometimes we can't let that out the bag or have them understand. But all this is for them
Yeah.
Right.
and it's for the children because like I said before, you're placed here on this earth and we're all going to we're all going to one day leave here, but you got to be able to say what did I do when I was here that
Right.
was a benefit. So that's what I get from out of it. I get the joy. I get the joy and the satisfaction. I've had many things in my life. Material things don't bring joy to me, like being
Mm-mm.
able to see a child being placed on the right path.
Right.
That's what I get from out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maurice, I know. Well, I mean, I'm just want to say something really quickly, and I know
Go
this is
ahead.
all out of order with how we usually do things, but
No, it's not.
Maurice, I just wanted to thank you just for continuing.
Mhm.
I thank you for not giving up. I thank you for not allowing the guilt of the fact that you missed so much of your children's life haunt you to the fact that you didn't continue to walk in purpose. So I
Mhm.
just want to applaud you and honor you and
Yes.
thank you for continuing, because it's so difficult when you found yourself in your pit, right? You found yourself at your rock bottom, to pull yourself out of that and to still make something of yourself and still decide that that's not the final say so, that God
Right.
has the final say so. And I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep climbing. I'm going to keep inspiring. I'm going to keep, gifting people through my
Mhm.
experiences and lessons in life so that they don't have to touch that hot
Right.
stove. Like I'm telling you, the stove
Right.
hot, so stay away from it. But
Right.
you continued. And had you not continued, you wouldn't be filling this virtual room right now and inspiring people and giving them hope. Because
Mhm.
even though their pit might not have been jail, their pit or whatever their challenge is, their mountain has gotten so many people stuck to thinking, I can't overcome this.
You
But you
can't
are
get out.
sitting
Yeah.
here, you can and you will, if you have your mind made up, that not only are you going to overcome it, you're going to use
Mhm.
that pain, you're going to use those experiences to find purpose out of that and
Mhm.
inspire other people through their mountains and their challenges. So I just wanted to thank you for that. One, for the
Yes.
transparency, but just for continuing.
Yes.
They're growing up. I read books, um, Homer, the Iliad,
Hmm.
Mhm.
the
The
Odyssey.
classics, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And one thing that I got from out of that is that in this life, you're going to only reach the level of excellence and greatness when you are pitted against what seems like insurmountable odds.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I remember that movie by Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson. It was Unbreakable, and he said, to the guy Bruce Willis, he said, I had to play the supervillain in order for you to become the hero.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
we as black people,
yeah.
there's no nah, there's no quitting black people. I mean,
That's right.
I don't know of it. I've never
Um,
seen it. I've been raised by a very strong black father, strong. So mm-mm. I don't know of any other option. I don't know of quitting.
Mhm.
I don't
mhm.
know. You get knocked down. Denzel Washington said, "Get knocked down 8 times, you get up 9 times." I mean,
That's
Yeah.
right.
that's it.
That's
You
right.
have plenty of time to quit. Don't worry. Don't
That's
worry
right.
about it. You'll
Keep
have plenty
living.
of time to quit. When it's all said and done, you can quit all you want.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
But
right.
for right now, no. You got to keep. It's not even about us no more. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's about everybody. It's about the
Yeah.
people you love, the people you care about. That's what you
Mhm.
have to do things for. You got to leave behind a legacy.
That's
Oh,
right.
come on.
That's right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, hey, who
Listen.
says all?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Sis. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
so, so with that being said, as far as your rewarding, what would you say on the opposite end of that? Have you had any challenges regarding publishing your children's book? And if so, what did you learn from those challenges?
I believe that the only challenges that we face are the challenges that we create for ourselves.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think I think the path that I took, you know, being in the streets and, unfortunately, I don't glorify any of that. So don't anyone who's listening don't ever I'm not glorifying any of that. But a lot of times when a person struggles all his life, he doesn't really see a challenge for being a challenge as much as he sees as an obstacle that you either have to go through, go
Hmm.
over, go under,
Mhm.
or around. But we're going to get the job done, you know. And
Yeah.
that's what I mean by as far as being, you know, we as black people, like we've suffered so much to whereas, you know, we'll find a way. So my schooling was from people who um, were could have been Fortune 500 CEOs if only they had applied themselves. And they instilled in me that, that you can accomplish something without taking on a surrogate. You don't need that. And my advice to a lot of the um, people of color who are trying to do whatever it is, authors, um, you know, any type of field of entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
do it yourself. I have a brother that's all he kept on instilling in me from the time I came home. I would say, I need somebody to teach me about computers. He would be like, no, you don't. Learn it yourself. That way, no one can sit up here and steal from you.
Mhm.
I used to sit up here and say, I need somebody to take me down to he would be like, no, you don't. Why you keep on asking for help? Because at the end of the day, when you become dependent upon other people, then, you know, if they decide for whatever reason to step off, where are you left at?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if you learn everything yourself, then, you know, you'll be so strong all around that as you go along, it won't seem that much of a challenge. We don't need these so-called major publishing companies. We don't need them because they want you to believe that you need them. But if you're a person who can stand on your own, you don't need them because they're going to wind up taking all your money at the end of the day.
Right. And so, on that note, thank you for telling us that and giving us that information because our audience, we need to hear it, but our audience needs to hear it as well. Why do you think it's so hard at times for people to not be so codependent on others?
Mhm.
Um, we talk to a lot of different people that have a lot of visions, dreams, goals, but to actually step out and do it,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing. Talk to us a little bit about that. Why do you think that it's so hard for us as people many times to walk in our purpose and to do what we know we've been put here to do?
That's that question. That question is very difficult, um, because I don't really think that there's just one answer to that. I think
Right.
that I think that based upon the individual, you have people who are trailblazers, you have
Mhm.
people who are innovators, you have people who are um, people who are, for the lack of a better word, they're kind of like they're like fearless. The people who set sail and went to discover other countries, like
Mhm.
they had to be a level of fearlessness amongst them, and that and that's what a person who steps out on their own, you have to have that.
Right.
And I quote a lot of times,
Yeah.
there was a a black man from out of Africa who um started the 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 Renaissance. And uh, when he took his men into Spain, he was just there. He was commanded just to be an expeditionary force, just go see what's going on. But he decided that I'm going to burn these boats.
Mhm.
And when he gave the command to burn the boats, people were they were looking at him like, "What's going on?" And he said, "I'm going to tell you what's going on. In front of you is Spain, and behind you is the ocean. So you make your choice, because we're going to do what we came here to do. And if you don't want to sign up on that, then the ocean's behind you, but
Mhm.
there's no boats." So that's what I did. I decided to burn all my boats. There's no going back. And when you understand that, you have no other choice but to move forward.
Yeah.
And I think there's a level of comfortability that a lot of us we assume that level of comfortability. Um, and I think that defeats the purpose when
Yeah.
you get when you're too comfortable. So as long as you know that there is no one that's going to come to your aid, I believe that you're going to develop
Mhm.
the mentality that you're going to make it happen.
That's right.
Yeah. That
You're going to make it
tenacity.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
is true.
Yeah.
And you can all do it. Everyone can do it. Make no mistakes
Mhm.
about it. You can
Mhm.
all do it. You
Yeah.
have to you just have to remove from your spirit, your mentality, that um the doubt. The doubt
Mhm.
is the main thing. If you can manage to remove your own doubt, then you will be able to, you know, you'll be able to win.
Yeah. What I heard was a lot of you. So it has nothing to do with anyone else.
Anybody else?
You have to remove the
Mhm.
doubt. If I have doubt in me, Valerie is not going to come and say, okay, let me take this doubt. No, you have to
Mhm.
make up your mind that you're going to be fearless in your pursuit to win. And then you have to do the work to get rid of
Exactly.
that fear and doubt. No one else but
Exactly.
you.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you young ladies would not be here hosting the show if you didn't get rid of the doubt that you could do it.
That's right.
Hmm. Oh, girl.
That goes for any
Yeah. Yeah.
that goes for
That's right.
anyone who is chasing a dream. If you're chasing a dream, no one can see your dream. No one. You have to stop believing that someone can see your dream. There will be people who
Mhm.
will say, "Oh yeah, I see, I see." No, they don't.
They don't see.
How can
They don't
someone
see.
how can someone see
No.
your dream?
No. You're right. You're
I
correct.
mean, I'm not I don't know of any technology yet that that has enabled that ability for someone to see another person's dream. You can describe your dream
Yeah.
Mhm.
to someone who is willing to listen,
Hmm.
Mhm.
but they'll never be able to fully see it
Yeah.
until you manifest it.
Pooh.
When you manifest it, then they're gonna be like, oh,
Hmm.
oh,
I
shh.
see now. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
Very good. Very good. Love it. Love the conversation.
Y'all see our new
You have to
co-host.
believe.
Look, you see our new
You
co-host,
have to
y'all.
believe in yourself. That's just the
Yeah.
Yeah.
bottom line. The
Yeah.
bottom
Yeah.
line is you have to believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself strong enough
Yeah.
and long enough,
Yeah.
because it's not just like this is not the race of the hair.
Yeah.
There there is no there is no finish line established for you. You have to the race. This is a war of attrition. So it may take some people 1 month. It may take some people 1 year. It may take some people 10 years. But you cannot become discouraged
Right.
Hmm.
because you didn't make it in 1 month like everyone else did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because that was his or her journey, not
Right.
yours.
Right.
Yeah. Val, yeah.
I
I
don't
think
have
one
any
of
other
our
questions.
no. I'm laughing because one of our faithful supporters for Storytime Chill with Val and Seal Samir, she said in the comments earlier, let me find her comments, but she said, I don't think that she's ever really seen us this speechless. And that you were taking the words out of our mouths, Maurice. And that is not a
Yes.
bad thing because
No.
you're making it so like seamless. And the thing is, I love having conversations where like these types of conversations where you can
Mhm.
leave feeling more full, not
Mhm.
empty. You know, I don't,
Empowered.
but not the draining conversation, not feeling like, oh my, that was exhausting. This, like, our spirits are full, and
Mhm.
we're feeling this. We're not even in the same room, so just
Right.
the experience, the wisdom, the passion, and the pursuit is just like this is what we've created Storytime Chill for these conversations. There's so many platforms out there for children's authors to come and read their stories, but what we wanted to focus on was the story behind the story, the message, what can
Okay.
people take away from the book that's going to give them the hope and the tenacity to keep going in their own
Yes.
lives, and you embody just all of
Yes.
that, Marie. So
Thank you. I
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
said, I thank you.
Yeah.
I thank you
Yeah.
because a couple of years ago, this is like a dream. A couple of years ago, I couldn't even have envisioned that. So
Yeah.
that's, God does whatever He wills.
Mhm.
Yes,
And
it
so
did.
all you have to do is just remain strong and steadfast in your belief and your vision and your dream, and it will come to fruition. I mean, I don't know how to articulate it any better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
If
it.
you
I
if
mean,
you if you believe in what you're doing, and you are able to establish that conviction, because that's what you're going to need,
Yeah.
because there's going to be a whole bunch, it's going to be a storm around you.
Mhm.
And if you have the firm conviction to weather that storm, what comes after every storm?
The rainbow.
the rainbow.
Uh, you have to weather it. And if you can
Mm.
weather it, person asked me one day, a very good friend of mine, he said, how did you do it? You know, how did you do it? And I said, what do you mean? Because for you to see someone that you knew in
Mhm.
prison out here, the joy is like, how did we do it? And my only response to him was, I walked it down.
Mm.
I walked it down
Yeah.
one day at a time. You
Man.
gotta you gotta look
One
at
day.
it that one day I'm gonna leave from up out of here. I don't care how much time they give me. I'm going to stay true to myself. I'm not going to get involved in what everybody else is doing. I never looked at prison as prison. I looked at it as going to school. So I feel like when I left from out of there, I left out of there with a PhD because I studied everything. I read every book. I took every
Mhm.
time to write. When I came out here, people were like, "How are you moving so fast? How are you able to put these things together so quickly?" Because they were already put together.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would say before I know Val is going to, I, yeah. Um, I want to read a quote. It's one of the quotes when you were speaking, Maurice, that I discovered probably when I was in college. So over, well, I look at that, here it goes, in a while. So, but
It hadn't
I
been
just
that
want
long
to read.
ago.
It's been a little while now, so I want to
Sure.
read this quote by Haruki Murakami, and it's one of the quotes that I actually on my mirror. And so it says, once the storm is over, you won't remember how you made it through, how you managed to survive. You won't even be sure, in fact, whether the storm is really over. But one thing is certain: when you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person who walked in. And that's what the storm is all about.
Mm.
That is what the storm is all about. It's supposed to shape you. It's supposed to you thought you were going north, but now you're over here going south. It's supposed to do all those things, rough you up a bit, build your strength, right? Build your stamina. And so that last line, you don't even know whether you was coming or
Mm.
going, but that is what the storm is all about. And so
Right.
sometimes we try to avoid the storms, but you have to go through it. You have to go through it to see what's on that
Have
other
to.
side. I think Miss Anika in the comments said the calmness that resides after the storm. So after everything settles, right? That
Hmm.
calmness or that peace, that serenity. And so when I just wanted to share that, I'll actually post that later. But that's one of the quotes that I've cherished for like 10 years now, and I always try to remind myself of, So
Right.
yeah,
And
but Val, yeah. Oh, I'm
also
sorry, Marie.
understand one thing, that that the greater the trial that is before you, the greater the trial that God gives you, is only because He wants to see you at a higher station.
Hmm.
In order for you to reach that higher station, you have to overcome what most cannot overcome.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, geez. Okay. Okay, Val.
Well, I mean, hey. This is I mean, it's very good dialogue, and I'm just loving the just listening has been a blessing to me. So
It's been a
you
blessing
know,
to me as well.
so thank you.
Thank
I want
you.
to start off by saying thank you, Maurice Todd, for coming. Thank you for coming, reading the Snotty Nose Kids. Thank you for speaking about grief and loss. Thank you for speaking about the teasing, the bullying. Thank you for showing our children that just because they look different doesn't mean that they truly are different. We're all the same inside. We're human. Thank you
Mhm.
for talking about the topic of hunger, having the high IQ, gifted and talented, and especially thank you for pointing out the fact that foster care is alive and real. And even not even foster care, we talk about grandparents taking care of grandchildren for whatever reason.
That's correct.
Thank you for reminding us the difference between dialogue and narrative, because that's huge.
Mhm.
We also appreciate you reminding us that you have to burn the boats. That
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was that
Yeah.
that that was really good. That was
Yeah.
good. And ultimately, thank you, because I believe, and I know Sil believes, and here on Storytime too, we believe and know that God can use anybody. And we thank you for showing everybody that God can use anybody for his purpose and for his glory. We thank you for allowing God to use you
Mhm.
to write through your gift of writing. And we know that there is so much more that's going to come out of your writing. We thank you for being transparent and sharing your story and not being afraid of what people may say or think. Just being transparent, open, and honest. And here on Storytime Chill, that's one of the things we pride ourselves in, is that we're willing to take the chance, take the risk, and have open dialogue about topics that probably are not the most comfortable topics for most people. But for us, it is, because we know that so much comes from transparency.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we appreciate you. We thank you, and we know we hope and pray that we will continue to see you flourish in all your goals that you and dreams that you
Mhm.
want to accomplish and have accomplished. We'll continue to press on, and we hope to see you back here on Storytime Chill with another book
It's been
so
a
we can
pleasure.
highlight you.
It
Yeah.
would
So
definitely be a pleasure.
thank you.
Absolutely. And
Thank you.
Maurice, before you leave us today, are you able to let us know how our followers or anyone that catches or is watching this live or catches the replay, how would you prefer us to stay connected to you?
You could well, I have my IG page is Mafazan, MAFAZANNYC, New York City.
Mm-hmm.
That's my Instagram page.
Instagram.
The books are on Amazon.
Perfect.
So the paperback books are on Amazon, and you
Mm-hmm.
could get the hardback books through my IG page. Hopefully soon, they will be available on Shopify. So
Perfect. So they will be available soon on Shopify. We're just gonna just let us know the date. But it's
Yes,
we're manifesting, right? So
that's
okay,
right.
make sure you guys support Maurice Todd on Amazon. For now, get the paperback copies of the Snotty Nose Kids series, and also we'll also repost your information as far as Instagram. Of course, if you're watching this on Facebook, Maurice Todd, you see him. I mean, you can follow him, a friend request him as well. But just again, I just want to highlight the fact that even though these are children's books, everyone's leaving blessed.
That's right.
Everyone's leaving
oh,
empowered. So don't sleep on the children's books. There are themes and there are message and it's
Messages.
power.
Yeah,
The only difference between your children's books and your other genres is there's illustrations, there's pictures there,
that's
right?
right.
But
that's right.
everyone,
That's right.
Everyone can.
everyone
Yeah,
can leave with a lesson learned and something that applicable to their own lives and their own journey. So again, just like Val said, Maurice, just continue to press on. You have two new, hey, whatever we're supporters, whatever we're gonna be in your cheer section. We'll probably be all up in your comment section, like, yeah, Maurice. So, and when we ever make it
I
to
look
New
forward
York,
to that. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
When
Thank
we
you.
make it to New York, Maurice, now we gonna say, hey, this Val and Seal. Just
Don't,
we coming on this day.
yes, yes, yes. We'll make
Yes, we will.
accommodations for you.
Yes,
We
yes.
sure
So
will.
it has been a
Yeah.
blessing. It's been a pleasure. We will be just we're just excited. I'm fired up,
I
and
was
so I know
excited.
God
Yes.
is
I was
moving, and
Yes.
He
overly
has
excited
moved.
before I came on. You can see I looked like I was scared. I was like, oh boy, like a deer in the
No,
headlights.
no,
Yeah,
you blessed us all,
It was
and so
good.
just it
That's
was
good.
great. So Maurice,
Yeah.
you have a wonderful night. Everyone at home, thank
yes,
you
you
for
too.
joining us tonight. We will see you back next time. Have a wonderful week. Continue to stay safe. I don't care what the mask mandates are in your state. Just continue to stay safe and take care of
Yeah.
yourself. We love you always, and everyone at home. Let's say have a good night.
Bye.
Bye,
Good
everyone.
night.